Hello guys, welcome to KenQuest. So today we will be analyzing today's newspaper, The Hindu. So I have highlighted the important ones. So Basavaraj Bommai became the new Karnataka CM. It's not very worthy to be known. Okay. So the highlighted thing have gone. Okay. Just now a new CM came into being. Then about Mizo Assam border issue we said yesterday. The context, another aspect. Okay. Assam will abide by any law enacted by Parliament. Assam CM. We can skip it because we already covered that news. 21.5 million lost jobs in tourism sector. So that is statistics. Significant job loss was due to lockdown. Minister Kishan Reddy. I will zoom this. With the tourism industry, that is the service sector, the hardest hit, and 21.5 million people working in the sector lost their jobs in quarter 1, then 5.2 million quarter 2. Okay. Tourist economy or tourism, direct gross value added, TDGVA, saw a fall. So in the service sector, tourism has a very significant role. So the significant drop in tourist arrivals and the pandemic plummeted by as much as 93.3%. So 21.5 million lost jobs. Why? Lockdown and other issues. Okay. These are local issues. We can skip. Man who treads middle path. Okay. Is a troubleshooter. Oh, stalemate. Okay. So you need to read this editorial. This thing, dangerous conflagration. Can skip this. This is not needed. Weighing down crisis in Tunis. Okay. So the first will be Suhasini Haidar's needed a more unified Asian voice. Afghanistan, Happy Moon Jacob, then who else? Stanley Johnny, then Suhasini Haidar. All these people commenting on Afghanistan. So Afghanistan, Haiti, Tunisia, all these are news. So Afghanistan's future will impact. So what is India's role, India's options, and India and Afghan will impact Central Asia, South Asia. So that is how it affects Central Asia and South Asia more than the distant global powers involved with it now. As the US and NATO and their presence in Afghanistan set off a churn in neighborhood, Central Asia is emerging as a key player in the global troika of the. So there is a troika: US, Russia, China. That is the global troika. So 3 meetings: SCO, group on Afghanistan, SCO defense ministers in Tajikistan, and South Asia Conference, turning the spotlight on the region's role. So in all the, even in Quad, discussing on these issues. So factoring in the Taliban, put plainly events of the past few years and the decisions of the Troika. Who is the Troika? China, Russia, US, right? Is a leading role since Troika has met with Pakistan, and that is Troika Plus. With Pakistan, it is Troika Plus in order to discuss Afghan's future. So we need to talk with Taliban. So that is one thing important, if not controlling role in Kabul. The same powers that invaded Afghanistan post 9/11 and declared Taliban leadership as UN Security Council designated terrorist are not only now advocating talks. Okay, so they are terrorist groups. Once. So India's efforts to build on trade with Afghanistan, shore up development projects. Then we need to increase the capacity building, youth opportunity for Afghan youth. That should be appreciated. But these not grow bigger due to number of factors because it got restricted. Original hesitation opening talks with the Taliban, which even Afghanistan, Ashraf Ghani suggested, has cut India out of the current reconciliation process. The end of any formal dialogue between India and Pakistan since 2016. Since 2019, since 2016, no dialogue, no trade since 2019. Then Pakistan blocking India's overland access to Suez block Pakistan. India's alternate route is Chabahar, Iran. Should be operational and cannot be viable, cost effective because US sanctions on Iran is going on and India's boycott of PRI in 2017. Now tensions at line of control after the Chinese aggression in 2020 make another route to Afghanistan off limits. Meanwhile, US has announced a new Squad, Asian NATO. US, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan. That is also include India. Okay, that is new Quad. USAID. So many doors slamming shut. The hope is there is an relation window. The stance. Pipes and Kazakhstan. That is the stance. Pakistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan. So all these regions are significant. Okay. Central Asia, West Asia. Uzbekistan's view. It's clear that Tashkent sees the rise of Taliban in very different light from New Delhi after a whirlwind round of negotiations in his own region. US and China to ship the traditional tilt. President became one of the first countries to publicly invite the Taliban delegation from Doha, Qatar. Push for connectivity. Old silk and historical cities. Takshila, Gandhara, Dharmas. Trade, Uttarapada. Just plain with north-south transport corridor via the Iranian port of Bandar Abbas. Key elements of the architecture of connectivity. He did not mention the Chabahar route. Yes, espoused. yesterday we missed some aspect, right? So that will be discussed today. Yesterday, Harappan city, Dholavira, gets heritage tag. Okay. Before that, there was a temple in Telangana, Ramappa. What? So we said about Ramappa temple heritage. So many UNESCO heritage things we have discussed, right? So Ramappa is in Telangana, Kakatiya dynasty. 13th century Ramappa temple in Palambet, Telangana. UNESCO World Heritage Site by World Heritage Committee, WHC. So the background is earlier international, that is ICOMOS, International Council on Monuments and Sites, cited 9 shortcomings. The site after initial visit in 2019, and Norway was the only country which opposed the move, citing ICO. Other all supported. ICOMOS. So what is Ramappa? It is built by Racharla Senapati Rudraya, Kakatiya king, general of Kakatiya king Ganapati Deva. Okay. So it's part of Kakatiya dynasty. Then its foundation is built with sandbox technique. What is sandbox? The flooring is granite and pillars are basalt. Okay. The lower part of the temple is red sandstone, while the white gopuram is built with light bricks that reportedly float on water. What is sandbox? Okay, that technique involves filling the pit dug up for laying the foundation with a mixture of sand, lime. So there is sand, lime, jaggery for binding, and karakaya, black mirobal and fruit. Before the buildings were constructed on the sandboxes. Okay, that is, we are filling the pit, digging up the foundation for laying foundation, mixture of all these things, lime, sand, lime, jaggery, before the building. So it is constructed on this sandbox. So that is a foundation. It acts as a cushion in case of earthquakes. So that is the technique. Which one? Sandbox. World Heritage Committee, it means once a year, not every year, not every time in a year, and consists of representatives from 21 of the state parties to the convention, elected for terms up to 6 years. Committee is responsible for the implementation. ഇവരാണ് വേൾഡ് ഹെറിറ്റേജ് കൺവെൻഷൻ നടത്തുന്നത് and allocate financial assistance from the World Heritage Fund. ഇവരാണ് ഫൈനൽ സേ എല്ലാത്തിലും. It examines reports on the state of conservation of inscribed sites and the sites on the inscription or removal of sites on the list of, so they are the final. Every report കൊടുക്കും. And how is a World Heritage Site protected? UN, it is UNESCO, seeks to encourage the identification, protection, preservation of culture and heritage, that is cultural, natural heritage, value to humanity, and this is embodied in an international treaty called the Convention Concerning the there is an international treaty, World Cultural Natural Heritage, adopted by UNESCO in 1972. It is adopted in 1972. And what is the nomination process? Country must first list its significant. So they gave the tentative list. Next, selected from that list into the nomination. It is evaluated by International Council on Monuments and Sites and the World Conservation Union. And then country may not nominate sites. ഫസ്റ്റ് ലിസ്റ്റിലില്ലാത്തതിനെ പിന്നെ പറ്റില്ല. അപ്പോൾ these bodies can then make their recommendations to the World Heritage Committee. പിന്നെയാണ് ഹാരപ്പൻ. Yesterday we saw Dholavira Court. Dholavira is in Gujarat. Dholavira. UNESCO World Heritage Site. 40th treasure in India. Okay, so that is a 40th site. First site is it is the first site. IVC first site ആണ് Dholavira. That's India, Italy, Spain, Germany. 40 plus sites. Italy, Spain, Germany, China, France have 40 plus sites, and India, this is 40th one. Then about Dholavira, it is a Harappan era city sprawled over 100 hectares on Khadar. What is Khadar? One of the islands in the Khan of Kutch. 3rd to mid 2nd millennium BCE. One of the 5 largest cities is Dholavira. It is from Bhuj. 2 seasonal streams, Mansar and Manhar. Mansar streams, Mansar and Manhar. Okay, distinct features after Mohenjo-daro, Ganberiwala and Harappa in Pakistan. So 5th largest metropolis. First is Mohenjo-daro, Ganberiwala, Harappa, Rakhigarh, then Dholavira. It has a fortified citadel. This is ancient history. Citadel, middle town, lower town, with walls made of sandstone or limestone instead of mud bricks. Many other, and there is unique characteristics: water management system, multi-layered defense mechanisms, extensive use of stone in construction, special burial structures. And during the excavations, artifacts, copper, stone, jewelry, terracotta, gold, everything has been found. Unlike graves, no mortal remains of humans have been discovered at ഒന്നും കിട്ടിയിട്ടില്ല ധോലാവരയിൽ. The mines of a copper smelter indicate Harappans. They knew metallurgy. So that can be known. It was also a hub of manufacturing jewelry, precious stones, and they used to export timber. So it has so many features and significance. And what is the decline? Why it got decline? Its decline also coincided the collapse of Mesopotamia, Iraq. That is indicating the integration of economies. As Mesopotamia collapsed, this also, both were linked. Harappans were maritime people. Lost huge market, it affected local mining, manufacturing, marketing, export. Once Mesopotamia failed. Then 2000 BC, Dholavira entered a phase of severe aridity, climate change. Like Saraswati drying up, it went underground. Because of a drought-like situation, people started migrating toward the Ganges Valley towards South Gujarat and further beyond Maharashtra. So that's why it got declined. We can see the map as well, how it got linked. So in Gujarat area. Then where is Mesopotamia? Iraq. This located. Okay. So coming back to our editorial. So the talks we need to continue. We need to deal with Pakistan before that. Then only South Asia must learn from Central Asia's recent example, making together this region more tightly. So these dance, then Troika, everyone is coming together. There is better ties with India and Pakistan. That is this country. And so Central Asia, more unified voice is needed. Then only we can affect both regions more than. So what end of the Silk Road did not just come about the rise of sea-based trade of the new European powers. It also happened because Central Asia was no longer a bridge between regions, but the new fault line between great empires to the east, west, and south. During similar rupture is not wrought in Afghanistan is essential, which today has the potential to become that which sprawled. Okay. Then Assam Mizo issue, dangerous conflagration. Clash between Assam and Mizoram's police forces was clearly avoidable. Okay. If you're interested, you can read this. Sectarian tribalism. So what is the boon bane? Curse. Okay. Where's my cursor pointer? Sectarian tribalism. When underdevelopment acting as a catalyst in complicating knotty issues, and there is no sure short quick possible solution to the border disputes without a spirit of give and take and civic engagement. All this common politics section. First subject to do de-escalation steps to the status quo. It's very essential. Then Tunis, what is happening? Parliament suspension seems a power grab by President, not a response to Tunisian President Kais Saied sack the Prime Minister and suspend the Parliament. It is widespread anti-government Arab Spring protest. This effective Arab Street and was only one that managed to successfully transition from dictatorship to parliament. So that is why it is important. Its parliament democracy is also getting declined, damaged by this, and North African country elected never managed to ease its economic woes. So Tunisia has had 9 governments since 2011. It's very unstable and there is a crisis hit economy. Then one of the highest death rates in COVID. Only 7% is fully vaccinated. So the situation is very dark, very bad. So the president sacked the government and stepped in to save the state. But in a country where the wounds of decades-long dictatorship are yet to heal, this move to dissolve an elected government would raise concerns rather than comfort. So the president and parliament are popularly elected, is independent, and there is a coup can also take place. If there is to protest, it would pitch. It also deepen the political instability. called for constitutional court. Okay, so that's it, the editorial. Let's make room for a river. The floods in Europe are a wake-up call for us to adopt a Dutch method. It can be used for what? Disaster management. Live with water, build with nature. Rajamani, he's in Netherlands, right? Can learn from the Dutch. Rebuilding Kerala post 2018 floods. So this can be used as a case study. There are no words in the German language for this devastation. It is a surreal situation. Okay, in Germany, the floods are happening. When she visited the regions in Germany hardest hit by floods, that's why heavy rainfall is happening. Superior organization, better preparedness and advanced flood management system help Netherlands. Okay, that is how we learn from Dutch and dealing with floods to avoid casualties. Mr. Merkel. So what Netherlands? So lessons for India. What we can do is, that is important, right? Floods in Europe call attention global need for countries to implement ecologically sensitive flood protection measures. Dutch have gone beyond their conventional dependence on dikes, dams, walls, and gates to protect from this current disaster resilience mantra. We need to live with water. Don't stop water, build with nature, and make room for river. And champion creating adequate space for rivers to overflow. Okay, protecting floodplains, deepening riverbeds, and creating alternate channels for excess water. After two major floods in 1993 and 95, we need to live with water. Build with nature. We must recognize that we will have to learn to live in the long time. Be identified, create room for rivers, forests, playgrounds, maidans, agriculture fields should be marked to restore access to water. Sorry, my dog is barking. I'm sorry for that. Okay. We need to remove the obstructions and encroachments from existing water channels, proper maintenance of such channels, and creating additional channels for water to flow. Practice drills, and today many are wondering how they can learn from the Dutch experience. Okay, so vigilance, just live with the water. So next is anti-trafficking law. Human trafficking is a crime in itself. It is human trafficking, and we have this fundamental right also. So Bachpan Bachao, there is a comprehensive bill that's also needed. बिकने को तैयार नहीं हूँ, लूटने को तैयार नहीं हूँ. We are not ready to be sold, we are not ready to be stolen. Trafficking in Persons Prevention, Care and Rehabilitation Bill. That bill aims to tackle all aspects of trafficking, including the socio-economic causes of crime, punishment to traffickers, and protection and rehabilitation of survives. This is achievable if the bill has the necessary checks. Misuse of power, everything should be taken care of. What is human trafficking? It is crime itself. Creates a parallel black economy. It's also related to terrorism and also child labor, child marriage, prostitution, bonded labor, forced beggary, drug related corruption, terrorism, and other illicit businesses. It is punishable, and the trafficking law is the moral and constitutional responsibility for elected leaders. It is non-negotiable for the realization of an India. Okay. Kailash Satyarthi. Assam Misao issue. No landless farmers in new data. So this news we already said. Dholavira in Gujarat. Okay. It's the 40th. New data policy. Land use. There's no landless farmers. You can go to the world news. And Ram Shashikumar SC. Province snooping room. Disclosure from the government. Because civilians also got targeted, right? Media network wants blinking to flag threats to press freedom. Okay, UAE is here. So in India, press freedom is under great threat. So Blinken is here. Quad, Afghanistan issues, rights, many things to be discussed. Then PM Cares, Fund for Orphans. Okay. We can see about PM Cares. PM Cares for children. Empowerment of COVID affected children. So it already came into the news. Okay, PM Cares. Need for. So we can see today's. We get an idea. Then there is another bill also, that factoring rate. Okay. So PM Cares, it's for What is the issue? Let's see. PMK Cares funds to help all orphaned children during pandemic. Okay. Why? Because we already told this earlier. The context is Supreme Court has made an oral observation that the welfare schemes for orphans, that is Prime Minister Citizen Assistance Relief Emergency Fund, that is PM Cares full form, should cover all children who became orphans during COVID-19, not just those who got orphaned. Then what's the issue? The Supreme Court suo motu case in dealing with children who became orphans after the onset of COVID pandemic. It was in March 2020, and in its observation, it has said that it was not asking to extend the scheme under the PM Cares to all orphans, but was highlighting the need to protect all orphans. Can do not extending, but protect all orphans. Then what is the need? Court has pointed out that there is a signatory to the Convention on the UNHCR, not HCR, Rights of Child. So India is a signatory. So state has an obligation to take care of orphans, and the background is May 28, court has directed UN states to identify children who all got orphaned and it was due to pandemic, and then update their information in the Bal Swaraj portal. Okay, Bal Swaraj portal of National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. Bench also passed direction to control illegal adoption of such orphans. Why is the welfare of orphans is the need? Because this is very important, because 75,000 children have been orphaned, abandoned, or have lost a parent during the COVID pandemic, and many of them may become victims of human trafficking rackets. So they are often, and there is none to them. And as per National Commission CPCR, 6,855 children got orphaned. And it will change when 68,218 lost both parents, one of their parents, not both. Other lost another 247 were abandoned across the country. So that is stat, and what needs to be done? State government may work out a mechanism for continuing their education in the existing schools, and eligible children who have either not enrolled or dropped out of school should be enrolled in schools. Okay, so education is a must, and should reach out to guardians, these orphans, and engage whether they really can afford to have these children and they have require financial help. Increase the government sponsorship limits to those. Okay, if you are orphan, then you get scholarship or something like that, and proper implementation is also needed. So that is PM Cares, and then this orphans. And the convention is also the right of child, international agreement, and there is a signatory. Okay, the CRC, Convention on the Rights of Child, it was adopted by UN in 1989. It came into force in 1990 after receiving minimum of 20 ratifications. So every child as human being under 18 years old, so they also have child rights, civil, political, economic, social, cultural rights of every child, regardless of race, religion, abilities. So don't mock any child. So for core principle is non-discrimination, then right to life, survival, development, best interest of the child, Respect for child's views. Always respect child's views. So this is all about PMKs and often. Then factoring regulation amendment bill. That's also yesterday came. The bill was recently passed by the Lok Sabha. And engage in factoring business. What is factoring? It's a transaction where an entity like MSMEs sells its receivables to a third party for immediate funds. That is factoring. Can check it out. And then currently 7 non-bank finance companies, NBFCs, factors do the majority. Which are they? Through the principal business condition. Key provisions. The bill has done away with threshold NBFCs to get into. So this is also common GS3. Guidance of swap of finances. Okay. Significance is NBFCs and other to undertake factoring, bringing down the cost of funds and integration of GST and all those things. Okay. Coming back to our news. Trafficking also there among the kids. Into IR, China's sea claims, then Biden, Qadi, deal on Iraq, Israeli war crimes, apparent Gaza assault. Okay. China sea claims and then Israeli war crimes, right? North South. Okay. Warfare diplomacy. We said, right? In Afghan policy at crossroads. All that things. North South border. After okay. You can say about that is China's claims and sea and then Israel war crimes. What is that? Okay. Israeli, before that China. Okay. US counters China's sea claims. So what is the context? In the backdrop of China's growing assertiveness in the hotly contested waters. So China's growing assertiveness in the hotly contested waters. The US has said that Beijing's expansive claims in where South China Sea have no basis in international law. What's the issue? Beijing has overlapping territorial claims with Southeast Asian states in the South China Sea. China claims almost all the resource-rich sea. Okay, very expansionist foreign policy they have, through which trillions of dollars in shipping trade passes annually, with competing claims around Brunei, Malaysia, Philippines, Taiwan, and Vietnam, Southeast Asian nations. So Beijing has also been accused of deploying a range of military hardware, including anti-ship missiles, surface-to-air missiles, and ignored 2016 International Tribunal decision that declared its historical claim over most of the waters to be without basis. So China is not under any convention or treaty. So my mask started daily routine. Sorry for that. So the recent incidents are hundreds of Chinese boats were spotted inside the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Okay. So that was one allegation against China. Exclusive economic zone of Philippines, and Chinese military aircraft appeared off Malaysian coast. Not in Philippines, also in Malaysia. And US-China relations also deteriorated over a range of issues, from there is cybersecurity, tech supremacy, human rights, then Hong Kong, Xinjiang. The US sees China as a preeminent challenge. It's always a preeminent. That means superseded trap against tough competitor. It is against US hegemony. Okay. And where is the South China Sea? It is NAM of Western Pacific Ocean. You can see the atlas. In Southeast Asia, it is south of China. That is South China Sea. Then east and south of Vietnam, west of the Philippines, and north of the island of Borneo. It is connected by Taiwan Strait. So what is Taiwan Strait? East China Sea. And then Luzon Strait with the Philippine Sea. What is the difference between strait, seas, passes, everything? And bordering states, China, People's Republic of China, that is Taiwan, and Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, Indonesia, Singapore, Vietnam. So what is the strategic importance? This area holds tremendous strategic location, connecting link between Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean, Malaccan. That is the Strait of Malacca, Indian Ocean and Pacific. Where US has access in this area, and according to UNCTAD, UN Conference on Trade and Development, 1/3 of the global shipping passes through it. So this is very strategically important, carrying millions of trade, which makes it a significant geopolitical water body. Then contesting claims over islands. Which are the islands? There is Paracel Islands claimed by China, Taiwan, Vietnam. Then Spratly Islands claimed by China, Taiwan, Vietnam, Brunei, Philippines. Okay. Scarborough Shoal, Philippines, China, Taiwan. So all are contested. China has been converting uninhabited islands to artificial islands. UN Conventional Law of the Seas. It is Haven Reef, Johnson South Reef, Erie Cross Reef. So China is converting that uninhabited islands into artificial. That is reefs, China. Artificial. You can see Parcel Islands, Spratly, Tuna Islands, all these islands in South China Sea. Okay. Then coming to the Israeli war crimes apparent in Gaza assault, you can see we don't see confrontation with China, but won't flinch when our interests are threatened. That is US. She claims have no basis. Charter Human Rights Watch. Israeli war crimes. Human rights investigation revealed that Israeli forces and Palestinian armed groups carried out attacks during the May 2021 fighting in the Gaza Strip. And we know the Gaza-Israel issue, Palestine issue, and they violated the laws of war and apparently amounted to a war crime, according to Human Rights Watch. Okay. Such attacks, it said, violate the prohibition against deliberate or indiscriminate attacks against civilians. So what is the background? May 2021, 3 Israeli strikes, Iron of Dome, killed 62 Palestinians where there was no evident military targets in the vicinity, so they started it. And Palestinian armed groups, that is Hamas, also committed unlawful attacks, launching more than 1,360 unguided rockets, mortars towards, also got killed, and violating prohibition, deliberate and indiscriminate attacks against civilians. So international law says on war crimes. Under international laws of war, warring parties may target only military objectives. Don't go for civilians. They must take all feasible precautions to minimize harm to civilians, including by providing effective advance warnings should be given, and deliberate attacks are completely prohibited on civilians and civilian objects, and laws also prohibit indiscriminate attacks. You need to stop. You can give as a warning, but attacks that do not distinguish between civilians and military and do not target a military objective, and attacks in which expected harm to civilians disproportionate to the anticipated military gain are also prohibited. Individuals who commit serious violations of the laws of war with criminal intent, that is deliberately, recklessly, they are responsible for war crimes. That is no civilians, only military objective, and it's fine. Then what happened in recent war? You can see the map also. May 10, after Hamas fired a barrage of rockets toward Jerusalem in support of Palestinian protest against Israel's heavy-handed policing of Al-Aqsa Mosque compound built on a contested site, sacred. So that is sacred to Jews, Muslims, and Christians, and eviction of thousands of Palestinian families by Jewish settlers by neighborhood. And during the fighting, they fired over 4,000 rockets, mortars towards Israel by Hamas. Israel also struck over 1,000 targets, and we are linked it to Gaza. So you can see the location, boundaries, Palestinian civil and built up Palestinian area. Golan Heights, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt, Syria, Lebanon. Then Human Rights Watch 1978 ഒരു ഇന്റർനാഷണൽ NGO ആണ്, ന്യൂയോർക്കിലാണ്. Research and Advocacy on Human Rights. The group pressures governments, policymakers, to denounce abuse, respect human rights on the behalf of refugees, children, migrants, and political prisoners. So they said it is a war crime, nothing less than that. So that is the news. Other news also there. Then American forces will still operate here. US, Iraq. Then in economy page also IMF cuts emerging Asia, India growth forecast. So India GDP growth at 9.5%. So it is got reduced, downgraded by severe second COVID wave. China 8.1%. It is a forecast. So government over MSMEs. Origin economic package. MSMEs. So I think we have covered almost most of the articles. If there is anything left out, you can fill it by your effort, I would say. Okay. Bills, everything came into being. Regarding health also, there is one, I think, which we have missed. Okay. Right to health. There is a fundamental right. Right to health. Taken a back seat as patients are forced to choose between expensive private care and inadequate private health sector. So the demands of the petition is proper implementation of Clinical Establishment Registration Regulation Act of 2010 in Clinical 2012 Patients' Rights Charter, Right to Health, that is regulation, clinical establishment, minimum health care is also assured. 4147 DPSP, and then international governance, right to health. The inadequate public health, it's not available to all the situation, and situation today is more than 70% patient care is provided by private sector, less than 30% is only public sector. So there are reports of skyrocketing charges are very high, and the vaccines also, it is very costly. Should be made at district, state and national level. Okay, grievance redressal mechanism, and then different levels. If any patient's right denied by the hospital, clinics, failure should come under Clinical Establishment Act. And what is the basis? Article 21. Right to marry, right to sleep. Okay. Comes under Article 21, life and personal liberty, life with dignity, and also DPSP 38, 39, 42, 43, 47. Then Paschim Bengal Khet Mastur Samiti case. Affair and application. Signatory to UDHR. So in that, health, food, clothing. Okay. So that's all for today. I guess the editorial of today is needed. This one, Suhasini Haidar, I would say. And you can add so many other articles too from this. Okay. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And do join live with me and add comments. Okay. Thank you. See you next time. Till then, bye bye.